Welcome to a short presentation that looks at using waste to reduce cost and greenhouse gases in Esquimalt using integrated resource management. IRM came from provincial guidelines for maximising the use of waste, which Esquimalt residents expressed support for during Capital Regional District's sewage treatment project. With Council's declaration of a climate emergency, a study was commissioned to see if IRM could help reduce both GHGs and costs. The study concluded this is feasible, so a range of online information, a webinar and questionnaire are available so residents can provide feedback to Council. Heartland Landfill is facing challenges as it nears capacity. While it could be expanded, this has resulted in fires, emissions and other problems in the past, and after landfills close, they still have to be managed to contain contaminants, which is expensive. Today, however, alternatives exist that can reverse these problems while costing less and simplifying household waste sorting. This generates local sustainable heating and cooling, while producing a sterile fertilizer that can sequester carbon, thus displacing fossil fuels. Moving towards this will require investment and effort to manage the project, and the plant will need to be located in Esquimalt to maximise GHG reduction and minimise costs. Let's review what this means. IRM is a process that looks at waste as a resource that needs to be optimised, not disposed of, to maximise both environmental and financial value. For Esquimalt, this mostly means tackling household and yard wastes from which heating and cooling can be captured to displace fossil fuels, and sterile fertiliser generated to sequester carbon. All of this and more generates revenues that pay for the system costs. For this reason, recycling of sewage, heat, water and electricity have been deferred until they are more viable. Perhaps the first thing to realise about waste is that recycling isn't easy because of composites such as this shoe, which is difficult to separate into its constituent parts, raising cost, complexity, or even being environmentally impractical. This means it's much more difficult to recover resources than implied by this summary of Heartland's wastes, which makes it look easy. Technologies have to be chosen carefully, so let's look at why gasification was selected. A common and popular solution is composting or anaerobic digestion. However, these only work with organics, which are roughly 11% of the waste stream. The systems needed to collect and process this waste are not as efficient as other options and can be expensive, with few revenues to offset the costs. Another alternative is generating biofuels. However, technologies are still developing, and there's currently no single system able to manage all Esquimalt's wastes, so multiple plants would be needed. Locating such a plant in Esquimalt would also be difficult. The most common option globally, however, is thermal conversion, which copes with the widest range of wastes. Europe and Asia have been developing technologies and expanding their use since the 1970s, largely for reasons of efficiency, flexibility and viability. This does not mean that recycling, composting or other approaches have to end, but rather that advanced gasification acts as a catch-all, so recycling can continue or expand if it makes sense. This means that gasification can address aspects such as plastic bags or styrofoam until other recycling options take its place. This is why not only Europe and Asia, but Nova Scotia, for example, has embraced thermal systems as an integral part of optimized recycling. It helps to know that Esquimalt's not alone in pursuing this. In Europe, to reduce GHGs, the EU has set a target of 90% diversion by 2035, and some countries are already achieving 100%. To put it in context, Esquimalt's current recycling is probably achieving about 43% landfill diversion, but by moving to an IRM approach, could achieve over 90% diversion. A Polish study showed the number of gasifiers in the EU had almost tripled in 20 years, and while not all of these are processing municipal waste, gasifiers that do have over 1,000 years combined operating experience. For those wanting to know more about Europe's experience, Pivotal's website has an interview with a manager in Gothenburg explaining how they went about a move towards what we now call IRM. The technology identified for Esquimalt is therefore advanced gasification. Gasifiers are sealed units that heat waste to a temperature where it converts into its component gases. so almost everything is usable and emissions are similar to natural gas boilers. It's important to note that this is different to incineration because the systems exclude oxygen, so the waste can't burn, which helps avoid pollution. Advanced gasifiers are also small, making them easy to locate in Esquimalt. One important aspect is that sorting and recycling should be simpler. Instead of separating waste as they are today and dropping garden waste off at the public works yard, only blue bin recycling will still need to be separated. Despite this, resource recovery will actually increase, for example by producing a sterile fertilizer known as biochar. Very simply put, biochar contains carbon extracted from the atmosphere and when used as a soil supplement, reverses the actions of fossil fuels. This creates a tangible reduction in GHGs, but at no additional cost to the taxpayer. The recommended approach is projected to reduce greenhouse gases by about 4,500 tonnes annually, which would exceed the township's 2030 corporate target and achieve almost a third of the entire community's targets. This is roughly equal to taking about 970 internal combustion engine cars off the road each year, and is one of the few ways that a significant portion of GHG reduction targets can be achieved easily and quickly. For recycling to be optimized, the plant needs to be centrally located. The best option is the public works yard because the township already owns it and any impact would be low. This is because the gasifier is virtually silent and would need on average 3 trucks a day, which are already circulating collecting waste, so traffic impacts will be small. The main advantage to the public works yard, however, is that it's only a short distance from the town centre, which makes it cost-effective for supplying the recovered energy to consumers. As the main driver for this project is environmental, that's where this summary starts. Firstly, cradle-to-cradle efforts currently met by composting will receive almost the exact same tonnage, but using a sterile biochar. This should not only help address compost contaminations identified by CRD, but also improve carbon sequestration. IRM should be able to exceed the township's corporate 2030 GHG reduction targets and be about 1/3 of community targets, while raising landfill diversion from about 43% to 91%, which is in line with European experience. While the system is estimated to cost $21 million, there is the potential to generate a taxpayer dividend of up to $360 per home. Achieving this will require diligence, but this is little different than other options. Simple steps can be taken to address the main risks early on, should Council decide to proceed. It may help to see some examples of gasifiers. This first picture is of Dockside Green's energy plant, which shows that the systems can be designed to fit in with surrounding buildings. This picture shows a plant in Louisiana processing more than twice Esquimalt's waste volume to produce biochar, and here is the same plant viewed from the air. The Esquimalt plant will be much smaller at just under half an acre, which is small compared to the area needed for a landfill or other options. This is the world's largest pellet plant located in Georgia and producing biofuel pellets shipped to the UK to help meet its GHG reduction targets. To give an idea of scale, note the highlighted person standing at the bottom left compared to the size of the gasifier. This picture shows the unit in California that will test Esquimalt's wastes to confirm designs and qualify for a manufacturer's guarantee. An initial test has already confirmed that Esquimalt's wastes are compatible. Because Esquimalt is growing, there will be several small units like this, so the plant can be expanded as and when required. This defers investing in a plant capacity that could take time to occur, which lowers both risk and cost. We hope this short video has been useful, and more information is available online at www.esquimalt.ca/IRM. Council hopes you'll be able to participate and provide feedback. Thank you.